Hello, this is Dexter. Welcome to the show with Coach Canada.
That's the one, Mom.
Hey, it's Coach Canada. Welcome back to the show. Oh my goodness. Today we are going to be talking about getting started on Trim Healthy Mama, what you need to do before you jump in. I'm going to be joined by my friend, Coach Mary Beth. She'll be on in a minute. And I just wanted to say hello to you all and say thank you so much for continuing to show back up and be here with me. It's so much fun. Disclosure, I am not a doctor and I'm not giving medical advice. We are both just talking about our own journeys. And also, I am not affiliated with Trim Healthy Mama. I don't work for them. And so anything we share here is just our own journey. So thanks so much. Let's get started. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited. I already introduced you in the intro. So
okay.
You can introduce yourself too, though. It's kind of weird. So yeah, going back, what I did was I jogged my memory about our conversation.
Okay.
And I just put the 3 touch points that we talked about, and then we can just explore from there. So
can you say them again so I can write them down to jog my memory?
Yeah, and they'll pop up too.
Oh, sweet.
So we talked about changes that we need to make when we're getting ready to start Trim Healthy Mama. And that was change your mindset, change your pantry, and change your fridge. Okay. So I guess I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. And then as we roll into those, that's what we'll get to. But my first question is so this is Coach Mary Beth. I already said that, but Coach Mary Beth. So when you're coaching someone, a beginner, because this whole series is about getting started on Trim Healthy Mama. So when you're coaching a beginner, a fresh, never done THM before, what is one of the first things you recommend that they do?
Okay. Pause here. Do you want me to introduce myself and then answer that question?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. I'm a rookie. Right. I'm probably not even going to edit this out.
All right. Awesome. And scene. Okay. So I am Coach Mary Beth. I am a type 1 diabetic, and I also have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune form of hypothyroidism, for those who don't know. I have been a Trim Healthy Mama for 3 years and a coach for 2 years this month. I love coaching and I love THM, and it has given me huge, giantly wonderful control of my diabetes. So I will, just never stop being a THM for that reason. Okay. Question that you asked me. Ask me again. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So when you have someone who is fresh starting Trim Healthy Mama, like never heard of it,
baby beginner.
Yes, very baby, doesn't know the guidelines. What is one of the first things you suggest that they do?
My first suggestion for them is to start thinking like a Trim Healthy Mama, and to start really entering into that mindset of, this is now who I am. I may not look like a Trim Healthy Mama yet, but we've got to get our minds there before we get our bodies there. And if we can get our minds there ahead of time, then our bodies will fall into place eventually. It may take a little bit longer than we want, but if we haven't started getting there mentally, it's probably never going to happen long term.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I totally agree. You know me, I'm like, just get started. Like I think it's really interesting to go with starting with the mindset. And I think it's really, really important. I've learned that, of course, after you coached enough people and you've been burned by not having made sure that people were foundationally ready to start Trim Healthy Mama, or even if they already know about the plan, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready to be coached through implementing the plan, right?
So true.
So yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like that's something that I need to do a better job. And I've even made sure that's been a part of my discovery calls, is just like asking people, are you ready for this? Because this is like, I'm about to be up in your life And so
we are going to change your life for like the rest of forever.
Yeah. Like I'm about to be all up in your business. And so if you're not even ready to like make steps on your own, like you're going to be mad at me a lot of the time. And so I think it's good to say like, all right, you know, kind of change your mindset and know that you may not look like what you think a trim healthy mama is just yet. I really like that. Like, but you still in your head needs to look like that. Kind of like how they say I'm that girl. Like you just need to be in that mindset. And so I totally agree. And so I think that's something, like I said, I could do a better job in my coaching, is kind of helping people get in that frame of mind of, even if you're not doing things just like perfectly right, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We're making, you know, big changes here, one little change at a time, right?
Exactly. I like to, and that kind of goes along. One thing I often say in my coaching is we are, you know, I know you love Dave Ramsey and I know you love a good debt snowball. I like to tell my mamas that I coach that we are creating a snowball of good choices. So just those little good choices over time build up. Eventually we're going up the hill. It's hard going up the hill, but we're going to get to that top and then the whoosh is going to happen. And just, it's all going to fall into place if you stick with it. And so the biggest, hardest part really of starting is thinking, I'm that girl who eats on-plan foods, or I'm that girl who gets up and goes for a walk in the mornings before I get ready for work, or whatever the thing is that you're trying to do. It's got to be mental first. And then that shifts a lot of things. If you can get that going for you.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Plug for the I'm That Girl book. I am anxiously waiting for that book. And also the I'm That Girl Poddy episode. Oh my gosh, I think it's number 106. I literally texted to somebody today. I think it's number 106. I will link it. I will link it in the comments of this.
I have to ask every time. You would think I would write it down in a notebook somewhere.
I saved it in the notes on my phone, but I gave Dalton my phone so that he'll leave us alone. And so I don't have it. But I think it's 106. I think it's 106. But if it's not, I will link it here. Even if it is, I'll link it here. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's really good. And so I guess before we move on to the next step, when you are having that conversation with somebody about them changing their mindset, how does that tie into the step that they're on? Like, what if you have somebody that's like ready to jump in? Do you go ahead and say, all right, if you're anxious to jump in, go ahead. Like, how do you tie that in with somebody who's type A like me, who's like, I'm good, my mind's there, even though maybe it's still in diet mode, right? I'm ready to do the things. Like I want to do the things.
Yeah. So I typically in my coaching will encourage people to start slowly. That is honest to goodness, because it took me 3 tries for THM to stick. And the first 2 tries, I tried jumping in like 4 meals a day on plan, no mess ups. And I just failed miserably. I was in the Facebook groups, but I kind of just decided, as I do in a lot of my life, like, this is what I'm doing. I am going for it. Like, didn't prep, did nothing, just jumped in, and really honestly, like, failed so badly. And it didn't make me feel terrible. Like, I'm not a person who would feel bad about that or feel like I've, done something awful. But I did just think, okay, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing it like this. Like, I think I need to like step back a little and take this a little bit more slowly. So I know I told you the other day, I found that Gwen's Nest starter guide. That thing was so helpful to me. And you were like, I hated that thing. Too many words. Like, it's just totally a personality difference. Like I was like, okay, sweet. Somebody has broken this down. And one of the things that she suggests, and then later after I got the plan book and read that, I started THM with the original, like, big giant 700-page book. And so I read that during my pregnancy while I was on bed rest and couldn't implement it. But I thought, oh yeah, I can see that this will be great for my diabetes. So I had plans to do it after my child was born. And then I actually didn't put it all the way into play until she was almost 1. So, including those 2 two failures of times. So in Gwen's Nest and in the plan book, they do suggest just taking one meal at a time. So like what I encourage very, very baby beginners to do is to take 4 weeks to get on plan. And if people are real eager beavers, then I will let them do that in 2 weeks, but that's the shortest amount of time. And so the 4-week way is to do one meal. I let them pick the meal. So let's say breakfast every day. The first week they'll have breakfast on plan. The next week it's breakfast and lunch. The next week, breakfast, lunch, snack. Next week, breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, and we'll throw dessert in there somewhere. I usually encourage people to get dessert going early on, just to make one and have it in the fridge, because it is nice to have that to snack on and to know I've got to go to, like, it's there if I need it.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, I really like the 4 weeks on plan, 4 weeks to get on plan. But if you are a very eager beaver, so if you had come to me, Canada, I would have said, all right, we can do it in 2 weeks. You can do 2 meals a day the first week and 4 meals a day the second week. So
Awesome.
I do have a lot of people do that now, and I feel more okay with it. But if they really don't have, like, they've never heard of Trim Healthy Mama before, and they've come to me, I coached a lady I used to teach with who is a marathon runner. And she was like, I just keep hearing you talk about this, but I don't even know what it is. And so for her, it was necessary for us to go that slowly, just so that she could get her mind wrapped around like the carbs and the fats and figuring out that those weren't the same thing and
Yeah.
and just what went with what. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome, because one of the hardest parts about coaching is remembering that everybody is not like you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's like, yeah, that's hard. And so sometimes you just have like this expectation that this is how things are going to roll. And it's like, oh, wait, no, that's not how this person learned. Okay, so what I was going to say is, I don't hate Gwen's Nest. I have to make sure we go back in there. I don't want people to be like, oh my God, Coach Canada hates Gwen's Nest.
You don't hate Gwen's Nest.
But I don't hate Gwen's Nest. I have it. I refer to it. However, it is a lot of words for me. But that's like where we go back to like personality differences. Like,
oh, sure.
I make sure that my clients can reach me on Voxer, because when I get like a paragraph on text message, I'm like, okay, I made it through reading that, and now replying to that, I can't. Like, I need to be able
too
to
much.
speak. It's too much for me. Yeah, and basically, what'll happen is I'll shut it off, and then I'll forget that it's there, because my brain is like, that was too many words. And so, anyway, that's how it is with this start guide. I'm just like, oh my God, there's so many words. But that's just how I process. Like, I talk a lot. And so I just do better when I'm verbally processing. And also when things are read to me, like I love to read. Like, if I get into a really good book, no big deal, read the book. But like, reading to learn,
hard.
That is so hard for me. Even when I was a kid, like, reading comprehension was so hard for me. And so, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, everybody, I'm not, you know what I learned? I'm not a superhero. Like, I don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And you're an auditory learner.
Yeah.
That
works.
All
right. Yeah. And so, so just wanted to throw that out there. And then you said to have a dessert in your fridge. And so let's just go ahead and roll into changing your fridge. And kind of when I was thinking about changing your fridge, I was thinking about drinks. A lot of people like pop. A lot of people have been sold the story that fruit juice is so good for you, which, I mean, I don't want to say no, but yeah, it's just like,
but no, you don't want to say no, but no.
Yeah, you might as well hook an IV up and just pour sugar into your veins, because fruit juice.
I mean, everyone, let me tell you, that's what I use to bring up my blood sugar. Like, when my blood sugar gets low, I go grab like one of those little pouches of applesauce, and like if I blended that up a little bit more, it would just turn into apple juice. So it's what I use to bring up my blood sugar when it is low. So if your blood sugar is normal or even running high, then you add in fruit juice on top of that, just like I talk a lot in my coaching. We're not trying to make a Mount Everest spike. Like fruit juice does that. It creates a giant Mount Everest spike. Please don't drink it.
Yeah.
Get a bay or a buy, whatever those things are, a bay buy, and call it good.
Yeah, I love buys. I remember one time I made an Instagram post that was like, I showed that I was putting a stick of true lemonade into a pie. And people were like, that is so sweet. I'm like, dude, I used to drink Fantas like all day long. Like, this is not sweet.
Yeah.
Now it is. But at that
then,
time, it was like,
yeah.
I need that intense, like, package.
You're like
punch.
Danny ripping off the super sweet packets and like throwing them back.
Yeah, putting little nuggets of gentle sweet in its mouth. Yeah, that's, I mean, I didn't realize. I used to, so when I was growing up, we didn't do dessert. We did not eat a lot of candy. Like even when we went trick-or-treating for Halloween, my mom would go through our candy and we could keep like a percentage of our candy, and we had to like make it last until the next Halloween. Like we did not do a lot. Like going to McDonald's was a treat. Now that doesn't mean like we ate all the healthiest stuff, but for the most part, like we ate whole foods. My mom cooked.
That's
it was
awesome.
just like traditional, it was like, soul food, and also, carbs, like all the carbs. Like I remember one time my uncle David, he's hilarious. He's a hot mess sometimes too, but he's hilarious. Well, aren't we all a hot mess? We went to lunch or breakfast one time, and I just remember ordering, and I had gotten macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes, and I had a biscuit. And he was like, you have
there are no vegetables on your plate.
And meat. Yeah. And there was meat.
Yeah.
And he was like, you have 3 starches on your plate. And I just remember being like, okay, like, and he was just making fun of like how we ate. And so even though it was still like, for the most part, regular food, it was still a lot of like processed carbs and a lot of starches. And so, in any case, I don't remember when. Probably it was when I got with Jeremy, when I got with my husband, that sweet tooth came in, because we spent a lot of time eating a lot of ice cream at night. And he does, like, he loves like having something sweet, like even if it's like a bowl of cereal or something like that.
Yep.
And so the sugar, like just needing that intense. And then probably my drinks. If I had to keep it real with myself, I would say my drinks was where I put a lot of sugar in, because so going back to that, like we always had to drink water. Like we had this green pitcher in the fridge with water, and that was like the drink. And if you got a soda, that was like a treat. And so I think like getting older and in my adult life, it was like, oh, I can just go get my own soda. I don't need somebody to ration out sodas to me. And I'm grateful for for that. But I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, maybe that's why, like soda and Mystic, there was this drink called Mystic. So good. And so I think sugary drinks is what really got to me. So speaking of, like, what would you say when somebody is getting ready to get on the Trim Healthy Mama plan, changing their fridge? What do they need to change in their fridge, like with pop and things like that? Like, what's the route to start that?
I think and this is controversial, what I'm about to say. So I'm owning the controversy, but I think it's important for a period of time to get all the sugary drinks out of your fridge. Even if other people in your family are drinking them, just ask them and say, look, can we for 3 weeks just, like, we won't get rid of them, we won't throw them away, but I just need them to be out of my line of sight, because I am a big, like, out of sight, out of mind person. And so if I can just not have these cans of Coke, real Coke, like staring at me, or like little cute bottles of apple juice or whatever, staring at me every single time I open the fridge. I don't know about y'all. I think you have one too, but we have a fridge that's just for drinks. And so interestingly, out of sight, out of mind, it's in a different room. I don't go back there very much. When I do now, it's full of like Zevia and Baby's, which I know. I always call them Baby's. And I can't think what's fizzy water. Like it's just, it does have some Diet Cokes in there because my sister likes Diet Coke and she comes over here a good bit. But like mostly it's just on plan things. So I don't have like a huge temptation when I open the fridge.
He might laugh out loud, but I think it'll be okay.
That's all right.
So the question, I feel so bad. We might have to I might
do
have
the
to
whole thing. Let's just do the.
Well, I might have to do some fancy editing. The question that I asked that you were explaining was what people are, what you direct clients to do as far as their fridge goes. And then so you were saying that they should get the drinks out of their fridge. I'm gonna catch that. I'm gonna catch us up. But you were saying, and I'm also gonna put a thing that said a child came in, and so here we are. But you were just saying like they should get it out of their line of sight, out of mind type of thing. And then you were saying that you have a fridge in your garage, and that's that part is where we kind of left off. So we can pick up from there. You have not, I said garage. That's where my drink fridge is.
Right.
My drink fridge is in the garage, but you
Ours
have
is
a separate fridge.
Yeah. It's in the weird room.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Do you think that we said enough that we can just like stop with the drinks and move on to something else?
I don't know. I was kind of into the bye.
The bye.
I call it bye, and you call it bye. Yeah, so I was kind of into that. So,
all right.
Where were you with that? Like, you
maybe we can go. Yes, maybe we can go in. What can you replace drinks with?
Okay. So
maybe.
Okay, I think that's good because what can you replace drinks with? And please don't tell me that you're going to say Zevia, because I don't think anybody can start out with replacing with Zevia. Oh my gosh. It's okay. This is going to be in here. Did you love Zevia like from day one? You thought they were good? Yeah, I did.
Once I found the right flavors.
What are your Zevia flavors?
Oh, my favorite is grape. Okay. And I know that I would love root beer if I could find it, but I can only find ginger root beer, which is okay, but I really want just plain old root beer.
Okay. So you say Zevia, I say Virgil for root beer. For root beer, I say Virgil's root beer is like, I think it's on point.
It's really good. Okay. Yeah. I like to try, like I like to just get one can of something first before I buy like a whole pack of it or a 6-pack or whatever. And Natural Grocers keeps being out of the Virgil's vanilla cream. Do they have like a vanilla cream and the root beer? And they usually have those in the like buy one can section, but I haven't tried Virgil's yet.
Yeah.
I feel like I would like it, but
oh girl,
I don't want to commit.
It's good. I'll get one and I'll give you one because we so one thing that we do is we do Virgil's with Becky's vanilla ice cream.
Ooh, and a root beer float.
Yeah, I don't like root beer floats, but my kids and my husband, they will eat that. They will eat Becky's ice cream with Virgil's, and so
awesome.
We always have some left over, so I'll get you one so you can try it.
All right.
So I thought I lost my train of thought because I was going to say something about the Virgil's. Or even about drinks. Oh, one of the things that I tell people is just to drink water for a couple of weeks without trying any replacement drinks, except for I will say to try True Lemon, because I feel like those taste good even if you even if you're on sugar. Yeah,
those still taste good. Yeah.
Dalton will do the lemonade, like he does those, and he still does.
Annie really likes those too.
Yeah, so that's probably the one thing I would say. Like, oh, there's Dalton. That's probably the one thing I would say when you're going through sugar detox. Like, you can do True Lemon, but I don't know. For me, the way it was for me, and I know it's different for everybody. I had to just not do any sweeteners.
Yeah,
no sweet treats. No. Yeah. Fancy drinks until I detox from sugar because my taste buds were really like
were jacked up. Yeah.
Yes. And then once I detoxed Like, I remember the first time I had a green bean after like really having sugar out of my system, and the green bean was so sweet that I was like, this does not taste like a green bean. Like, this is different. I'm sorry, I'm like talking with my chapstick, but I just remember being like, this green bean is sweet, and having to like get fancy with how I seasoned my food because vegetables got really sweet. Like fruit got really
super sweet.
Yeah. I remember having a blueberry and being like, I thought I hated blueberries. But this
isn't it interesting though?
Yeah. I was
it's
like,
awesome.
This is like candy. It was like candy.
But that's interesting about holding off on the sweeteners. I mean, I totally agree about that. And I know I've just told everybody, go make a dessert. But when I say make a dessert, I usually tell people to make some kind of on-plan cheesecake, because I find that the sweeteners go with dairy really well, or to do those cottage berry whips. Like those are easy and those are good. And like even Dave, who hates cheese with a passion and would never touch cottage cheese, even if it was going to save a life, he probably would touch cottage cheese. And he likes those cottage berry whips. So they're just, I don't know. I find the sweeteners are just nicer in dairy. And so while your taste buds are transitioning, because you are way right. Like if you're coming from sugar and you jump right into gentle sweet or super sweet or just stevia, like you are going to think it is nasty, disgusting, but you just got to give your taste buds a little chance to relax and to kind of get back. I a long time ago, like 10 years ago, do you remember Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser? Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
He's like the blonde male coach. He was the only, I think that's not true. There was another male coach, but anyway, he is like a big workout guy, but he wrote this book called The Skinny Rules, which were pretty good rules. Some of them are incorporated into THM actually, because they're just kind of good rules to live by. But one of his things was to, once you're off sugar, it just resets your tongue and your taste buds to what things should taste like and what things do taste like. And so when I experienced that from going from I was already artificial sweetener using from being diabetic, but I remember him saying in that book that NutraSweet and Splenda are like Equal and Splenda are like thousands of times sweeter. Than a piece of like a grain of sugar. 1 grain of Equal or Splenda is like 1,000 times more strong in sweetness than 1 little tiny grain of sugar. And so I was like, that's wild. So he said, so we've just trained our taste buds to expect that. And so when there's not that level of flavor, because we're just so used to artificial, we don't know the goodness. I mean, that's like Christ, isn't it? Like, you don't want to have an artificial thing. You want to have the real thing. The real thing is where the good changes come. And the real thing is where like it just is how it should be. And so that it's the same moving from sugar to stevia. Hi, Dalton.
I know. Oh my goodness. He's like, oh, there's somebody. So so side note, I'm sorry. I feel like we're getting like super arbitrarily, but he is used to me going live. And normally when I go live, he like gets to come. And hey. And so I probably need to, I need to introduce Sweet Dalton to the world, because he's just like, but mommy, usually I like the star of the show. Like we've done shows together.
I can do it.
And so he's like, yeah, you want me to be quiet? I don't be quiet. Like this is my world. I'm the prince.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I was going to ask you something else, but I forgot. And it's probably a good thing, because for the sake of time, we need to switch to pantry.
Yes.
Things to change.
So basically, hang on. Can I just wrap up fridge? If it is not good for you.
Did you see that? Switch back.
Yep. Nice. I like it. If it's in there and it is going to cause you to even just, we talked about mindset first. If it's going to just plant a little seed of like, ooh, wouldn't that be good? Like my mouth is like, I have, what's that? Pavlov's dog. Like I have like a trained response. So honest to goodness, this happens to me every time I open my fridge. I love cream, like heavy whipping cream, more than a lot of other things in life. And I would drink like a whole container of heavy whipping cream every day if I could. Like in heaven, this is what we're going to be doing. Like just milk, whatever. No, heavy whipping cream all over
No
everything.
big deal. No gas.
Yeah.
No lactose
Yeah,
sensitivity.
just drink that heavy whipping cream. So when I open my fridge, if my heavy whipping cream, which is in there because I like it in my chia pudding every morning, I just put a splash. So like one container lasts me 2 or 3 weeks. But if I don't have that hidden in my fridge, I know it's there. But if I see that little red box, like carton thing, my mouth starts watering. And in my mind, it's just like, ooh, do you want a little taste of that? Do you want a little taste of that, Mary Beth? And I do. I do. And so what I do is I stack all my yogurts up and hide my carton of heavy whipping cream. So I can't see that little red Horizon heavy whipping cream carton peeking out for me. If I can see it, I'm probably going to have a taste of it.
So you will just like sip heavy whipping cream? Oh my word. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I don't like milk. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh,
why would you do that? Do you know where this comes from? My grandmother, Tootsie, is totally a creamy woman. Like, yeah, I have her in my mind being like, in heaven, we're going to have half and half on our cereal. You see my grandmother, she's a little tiny thing, like tiny. Like, you clearly don't drink the half and half.
I'm gonna have a laugh attack as somebody sipping out of the thing of heavy whipping cream.
Yeah,
that is amazing. Yeah, no. Sometimes my kids will like, even Jeremy, like they'll just pour like a whole thing of milk, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like just
how
the
can
thought,
y'all do
like,
that?
How can you drink that? And then now I have to tell Jeremy, like, Mary Beth swigs heavy whipping cream.
Well, I don't swig it. It's just a tiny little sip, but it's bad when you have to go to the fridge multiple times to like get things. I'm telling y'all, it's not awesome. Like,
no, I think
so
it's awesome.
Out of sight, out of mind. Like, you just got to get it out of the way. And even if you don't get rid of it, which I would say get rid of it, but if you can't because it's your family or whatever, just have an honest conversation with them and say, hey, y'all, please just, can you do me a heavy for like 3 weeks and let me put this somewhere else so that I'm not like captivated by it every time I open the fridge.
Yeah, I think it's good. And it does
one
work.
Heavy cream drinker to all the rest of my heavy cream drinkers watching this.
Yeah, I think it does work. Well, and I don't think it works. I know it works because Jeremy he bought these yogurts for the kids, but Dexter does not know self-control. Sometimes he'll learn it. He's walking into self-control. And so Jeremy hid these yogurts in the garage fridge so that Dexter would not eat them all, because first of all, our kids, myself and my 2 youngest boys, have lactose sensitivities. And so yogurts are like limited yogurt. Like you can have one of these, every few days. And even if you have one, then you need some MCT oil in your, whatever, so that everything can keep rolling. So put the yogurt in one of the little drawers and forgot that they were in there. So now we have expired yogurt that he won't throw away because he doesn't want to throw the yogurt away. But it was out, like you said, out of sight, out of mind. And then one more thing before we move on to the pantry. And I might have to just do this in 2 parts, and that's okay. But one more thing before we move on to the pantry, and that is when you mentioned having like a sweet treat in dairy. I think that's great. A note, like a tip for natural sweeteners, sugar alcohols, is when they have sat overnight, they are so much better the next day.
So much better. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So it's like, just make yourself something and know it's for tomorrow, because I feel like sometimes people will make a Trim Healthy Mama treat and it's so great and it's so warm coming out of the oven. And so they try it and it's got that little cooling effect. And it's like a little bit of a burn. People call it a cooling, but for me, it's a burn.
I have the cooling, but I also, then my throat will start burning sometimes.
Yeah, I have a burn. But if you let your dessert cool and you let it set overnight, the next day, I'm sorry, but it is
Yeah,
not any different
it's-
from having a sugary dessert, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
agreed.
And so anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because it was in the back
Yeah.
of my mind, which is a
Just
dangerous place.
THM baking. Yeah, THM baking tip, everybody. But it's true.
THM baking
It is true.
From a
And-
person who does not really bake.
Yeah.
But that's my one thing.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys make the chocolate trimtastic
Yes.
cake.
Yes.
So
and that
baking.
is so good the next day. It is like that's one of our favorites. Everybody in the house eats those. Like we have to hide pieces like in the back of the back drawer so that everybody can eat them. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check back next week for part 2. We are going to talk about what you need to change in your pantry. So don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification so you know when there's a new video out. Thanks so much. And as always, glory to God.